Scenario 10. Human Development. Real Scene 2. International Organizations. It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving. Mother Teresa. My goal. After I complete Scenario 10, I'll understand how to use present perfect tense and simple past tense, as well as being able to construct statements and short answers with regular and irregular past participles. The reading material will provide me with some interesting information about the major international organizations.
Introductory questions. Number 1. Have you ever volunteered in an international organization? Number 2. What international organizations have offices in your country? Number 3. How can you get involved in helping an international organization? Introduction. Almost the entire cost of healthcare in the developing world is borne by the developing countries themselves. According to two separate estimates, aid from international health organizations in the developed countries pay for less than 5% of the total healthcare costs in the developing world. The estimates do not specify exactly what they include as health aid, but they probably omit the value of food relief and other health-related disaster relief, as well as money spent on water supply and sanitation projects. Although these activities have important health benefits, nor do they seem to include the work done in the home offices of international health organizations. For example, the publication of manuals for healthcare workers in developing countries, the development of model healthcare systems, the strategic planning for campaigns against tropical diseases. Finally, these estimates omit the monetary value of the following: the labor of volunteer health workers, research in tropical diseases done at medical institutions in the industrialized countries, drug development for tropical diseases by major pharmaceutical firms, and the development of equipment by international companies for use in poor countries. Even if all these items were counted, however, the total value of the aid from abroad would still account for much less than 10% of the total health expenditures in the developing world. A large number of organizations of various sizes provide international health aid. The exact roles played by these organizations can be bewildering at times, even to professionals in this field.
Grammar Structure 1. Present perfect tense using already and yet. Present perfect tense is used to talk about experiences. For example, I have been abroad 2 times. It is also used to talk about an action that started in the past and continues until now. For example, I have been a teacher for more than 10 years. The present perfect tense is also used to talk about a past action that has a result in the present. For example, Juan has gone to South America. He isn't here now. We often use already and yet with the present perfect tense for an action in the past with a result in the present. For example, we haven't been to the farm yet. Have they already eaten lunch? Already means that something happened earlier than we expected. With present perfect tense, already usually goes after have or had and before the main verb. For example, we've already had our breakfast. No thanks, I've already had one. Yet means that something that we expected has happened or hasn't happened. It is placed at the end of a sentence. Has the mail arrived yet? Have you done your homework yet?
Contractions. I've equals I have. He's equals he is. We've equals we have. You've equals you have. She's equals she is. They've equals they have.
Writing. Complete the conversation using the present perfect.
You golf a lot this week? Play.
Yes, I already to the course twice. B.
You? Any good holes today? Play.
No, the time. Have.
How many rounds? You? This week? C.
Actually, to any yet. B.
You? Lunch yet? Eat.
Yes, already out for lunch. Go.
Multilateral agencies. International health organizations are usually divided into three groups: multilateral organizations, bilateral organizations, and non-governmental organizations, NGOs. The term multilateral means that funding comes from multiple governments as well as from non-governmental sources and is distributed to many different countries. The major multilateral organizations are all part of the United Nations. The World Health Organization, WHO, is the premier international health organization. Technically, it is an intergovernmental agency related to the United Nations. WHO and other intergovernmental agencies are separate autonomous organizations which, by special agreements, work with the UN and each other through the coordinating machinery of the Economic and Social Council. According to its constitution, its principal goal is the attainment by all peoples of the highest possible level of health. The principal work of WHO is directing and coordinating international health activities and supplying technical assistance to countries. It develops norms and standards, disseminates health information, promotes research, provides training in international health, collects and analyzes epidemiologic data, and develops systems for monitoring and evaluating health programs. The World Bank is the other major intergovernmental agency related to the UN, heavily involved in international health. The World Bank loans money to poor countries on advantageous terms not available in commercial markets. Bilateral agencies. Bilateral agencies are governmental agencies in a single country which provide aid to developing countries. The largest of these is the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. Most of the industrialized nations have a similar governmental agency. Political and historical reasons often determine which countries receive donations from bilateral agencies and how much they receive.
Non-governmental organizations. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs, also known as private voluntary organizations, PVOs, provide approximately 20% of all external health aid to developing countries. Most of these organizations are quite small. Many are church-affiliated. In the very poorest countries, hospitals and clinics run by missionary societies are especially important. Data from Uganda indicates that church mission hospitals are much more efficient than government health facilities, with mission doctors treating 5 times as many patients as their counterparts in government facilities, and mission nurses attending twice the number of patients that government nurses do. The largest NGO devoted to international health in the United States is Project Hope, with an annual budget exceeding $100 million. Worldwide, the most important NGO in long-term international health is probably Oxfam. Founded in the United Kingdom in 1943, It now has affiliates in 10 other countries, including the United States.
Grammar structure 2. Present perfect tense and simple past tense.
Present perfect tense. As discussed earlier, the present perfect tense is usually used to refer to events that occurred within a time period beginning in the past and continuing up to the present. E.g., I have seen that movie 20 times.
Simple past tense. The simple past tense is used to express the idea that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past. Example: I saw a movie yesterday. It is used to list a series of complete actions in the past. Example: I finished work, walked to the beach, and found a nice place to swim. Simple past tense is also used in reference to a duration that starts and stops in the past. Example: I lived in Brazil for 2 years. It is used to describe a habit that stopped in the past and has the same meaning as used to. Example: I studied French when I was a child. Also, simple past tense is used to describe past facts or generalizations that are no longer true. Example: she was shy as a child, but now she's very outgoing.
United Nations organizations. The World Food Programme, WFP, supplies food relief in disasters and coordinates the activities of NGOs involved in food relief, as well as assisting them with transportation and logistics. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, provides international protection to refugees and also attempts to find long-lasting solutions to their problems. UNHCR is the major international organization for the world's 20 million refugees. It aids refugees directly and coordinates the work of NGOs involved in refugee relief. The Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, helps developing countries prepare for famine through its Global Information and Early Warning System and its Food Security Assistance Scheme, which helps developing countries set up national food reserves. In disasters, its principal role is to assist in the re-establishment of agricultural production.
International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement. The International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement is the largest and most prestigious of the world's humanitarian NGOs. It has 3 components: the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, for example, the American Red Cross. The 7 fundamental principles of the movement are humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, for example, autonomy vis-à-vis national governments, voluntary service, unity, for example, for each country only one national society, open to all ends serving the entire country, universality. The ICRC is a Swiss organization founded in 1863 and mandated by Geneva Conventions to protect and assist prisoners of war and civilians in international armed conflicts. It may also offer its services in civil wars. Its functions include visiting and treating prisoners of war and political detainees, and providing them with a communication service with the outside world, setting up surgical hospitals or providing expatriate teams to work in existing hospitals, providing other types of medical assistance and relief, especially rehabilitation of war-disabled patients, development and dissemination of educational materials concerning health care of prisoners and victims of war, In regard to this last function, the book Surgery for Victims of War is especially well known. In 1994, the ICRC expended about $530 million on these various activities.
Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF. Like the Red Cross, Médecins Sans Frontières provides health aid to victims of war and natural disasters. Unlike the Red Cross, MSF is willing to enter war-torn areas without the permission of authorities. Another difference between the two organizations is that MSF, although its charter includes the same principles of impartiality and neutrality followed by the Red Cross, considers one of its functions to be speaking out on human rights abuses. Usually, this speaking out consists of drawing attention to cases of human rights violations that MSF considers underreported, but on occasions, MSF will take a strong stand and denounce egregious violations. Such denunciation can render the humanitarian work of MSF more difficult and dangerous.
Grammar Structure 3. For and since. For is used when referring to an amount of time. For example, I stayed in Shadow Creek for 2 weeks. And since is from a specified time in the past until now or a later time. For example, I've lived in Los Angeles since I graduated from college.
Research Spot. Look for more information about: Number 1. Other international organizations. Number 2. World Vision International. Number 3. Compassion International.